And the electronic waste, it generated huge amount of waste, and thanks to the waste, huge amount of other problems in terms of carcinogen, and a whole lot of articles which came in paper, a whole lot of studies which came. And the environmentalists intervened there. We spoke to some of the big names in the sector and brought in something called a recycling system. Now, in terms of policy, there is something called the Extended Producer Responsibility Guidelines for the government, but there is no policy or there is no act legislation in place. But despite the fact that there is no, and this guideline just came out last month, a month and a half back. Okay. It was not existing till now, but before that, the big names, even the Indian ones like HCL, Wipro, most of them put in place a kind of system where they did their own recycling. This also resulted in a new kind of business being set up, which meant a win-win situation for investors. Well, it also contributed to the unorganized recycling setup mushrooming. But it also meant that there was, in the organized sector, there was this recycling which became a new business, which could actually, and it's sustainable in the long run because you recycle. You don't waste or throw out the old mobile spare parts. You use it, reuse it. It meant employment opportunities for people. It meant it was environmental friendly. It saved on cost. It meant a new business line, a production line, so to speak, because that meant a process. And it's an opportunity. So sometimes you look at these environmentals and e-waste. Now these Greenpeace guys are now looking at e-waste. Why will they not let us grow? Why are they jealous of profits? No. But if you look at it, and then you continue to look at it that way. But if you look at it as, yes, there is an opportunity here, let's look at it as another business line. And that will save our costs. And we're looking at, so environmentally you're friendly, you're saving your costs, okay, you're creating more employment opportunities, you're creating opportunities for another round of another line of entrepreneurship. Similarly, if you look at low carbon pathway, all of us saying that yes, we need, nobody is saying that we don't need electricity or we don't need energy. All of us agree that we need energy. All of us know that if we continue to use the kind of fossil fuels that we have in a business as usual scenario, we'll be left with nothing. And with oil prices shooting up, it's going to be prohibitive. Then why not we look at a pathway? Why do we need to follow the same beaten pathway of the West? There is an alternative. It might be very expensive now. It is expensive, but then it is expensive because it's new. It's expensive because there's no economies of scale. So, well, it might seem a little utopian now, but then some of these utopian things can be converted into something which is practical. Thank you.
Yeah, I have just one more point. Looking at the way our population is growing and our demographic profile, I think the social cost of having unemployed people 15-20 years down the line will be immense. I'm not talking for revolution, but that social problems has to be contained, and we need to think about that also when we think of all these other issues.
Yeah, I quite agree. See, there is a process of industrialization, technology development which has happened in the West. If you look at the entire Chinese, Japanese, they have borrowed the technology and innovated in terms of some of the application aspect. And but in terms of the energy usage, it's very similar to what is there. Now, what we need to do in India is innovate in terms of R&D and research. Probably the entire lifestyle, the whole way. We consume so much of energy. Our buildings, our roads, our transport systems, our industries, everything consumes so much of energy, which is and if we keep increasing the growth rates, GDP growth rates, the way the West and some of the other Asian countries will really be in a havoc situation. So rather than looking at environment or green side more as a cost or a hurdle, possibly we need to look at more as an opportunity, as Srinivas says, in terms of the new businesses, and we can become world leaders in that, and and really grow the sustainable thing. If you look at most of the cities in India have developed over the last maybe 50 to 100 years. They were all river-based cities. The populations are still there. But let's compare India vis-a-vis China. The maximum growth in China has taken place in coastal cities, where in last 10 years the populations have doubled, tripled, become even 100-fold in many cases. The cities were not there and they've just come. And there is a large migration of people from the hinterland or from the rural areas to these coastal cities. And if in India we develop, as I've been saying, these maritime cities on a sustainable basis, having the entire maritime ecosystem, port, shipbuilding, offshore, R&D, educational institutions, some of those, and create a large value out of the investment and making them sustainable. It is, and in a very, very green way. This could be a new economic model. This could be a new way by which the India's growth can be there, rather than what the West has done in terms of the technology and the usage of technology, etc. So I would like to give it to the floor and talk. Kulkarni, would you like to say from a shipping side? And
thank you. Just one first observation about shipping being the maximum contributor to global warming. So look at it, 95% of the goods are moved by sea, and as long as the centers of production and consumptions are apart, I think transportation will be required. And you can't say that the food products should not reach the African continent just because there is global warming. So I think we'll have to strike a balance. We can't just say that shipping adds to global warming. It is a necessity. Coming back to Greenpeace, I would just like to quote one instance. One of our member companies, I wouldn't mind naming them, APJ Shipping, they had written to us. One of their ships was leaving, I think was it Tuticorin or Chennai port. Suddenly a small dingy boat came alongside. The Greenpeace activists just boarded the ship, painted it all, with all nasty this thing, and they went away. Now I don't know the other side of the story. What we were told that it was clearly some pre-planned act of vandalism. Greenpeace was used as a tool for some vested interest and all that. So I don't know how would you like to react to this? Especially I also remember at one of the earlier conferences, Mr. Praveen Agarwal from Marmagod, he was so bitter. He said, "What are you talking of all these opportunities when a simple development in Goa port has been stalled just because of some local vested interest?" So the environmental NGOs acting as vested interest, I think this also needs to be looked at, and it has to be looked at project wise. We can't perhaps draw a common framework because we really don't know in India. So many things happen at the local level.
It's probably not relevant, but then since you raised that point, see, as that particular activities you are talking of is clearly a anti-coal or a quit coal campaign of ours, and that ship which you were referring to in all probability was a coal ship, a coal freight which is leaving the Ennore port. The whole idea was, and then I'm sure the captain of our ship, Rainbow Warrior, was trying to contact the captain of that ship and made it very clear to him that it was not that company or that was not the target. It was a target. It was a message we wanted to spread about why we need to reduce our coal and not be coal dependent. Now, that's been the style of Greenpeace from the 70s when we first did it, when we did a bearing witness outside a nuclear plant in Namchitka. So, and that has been the style, and that's I guess the USP of Greenpeace. Yes, most people think that it's an act of vandalism, or that they don't understand, especially in India. Most people have not understood the style of Greenpeace. Like I said, perhaps I didn't make it very clear, but then we continue to operate in that. We have a certain style, we have a certain way of doing things. We will continue to do it. But on top of it, we also now have a political